Welcome back to episode 5 of Pawns and Patrons. We've just dealt with the pawns and what has been happening to them over the past month, and the taxes that they owed and the lifestyles that they have been living. And there have been some pretty interesting developments there. Some surprises, some not. But now we need to see more information about our patrons. So I want to start first with Anna, Noir, Sorcerer of the Whispering Cowl. How do you receive like communiques? Who do you have bringing you information? Anwar?
I have like just plants in all sorts of levels of society. Mostly a lot of street urchins to collect whispers, but then also like a fine lady here and there who gives me information in exchange for like, you know,
your spider web of information.
So people are always coming in and out of my audience chamber.
Do you have someone that you like rely on to give you important messages, or is it more like stuff just filters through a rotating group of people who you barely even recognize? Or
I have an ally, Quenta of the Wine Dark Tresses.
Oh.
And she's a noble woman.
Yes.
And she sometimes, in exchange for me sometimes lending her my power, she lends me knowledge of things going on in noble circles.
Yeah, awesome. So do you have a place where you normally like meet with her on like a casual, like social sort of basis?
That's a good question.
Incidentally, let's just like take a quick look over at the city grate. So this here is Oakwell Hamlet. And then this over here is the city grate.
Ooh.
I don't think Anwar prefers to be in public places. So like maybe she goes to pray at the church and he kind of lurks maybe in one of the alcoves, and she'll sit and speak as though she's praying, but she's speaking to Anwar hiding behind one of the pillars.
Yeah. Like what church do you imagine this being? Is it like church to Coronet or a church to Bobugbu Bills?
Probably Bobugbu Bills. I mean, like that seems to be the thing.
So what? Last time I said there was something like the path of cults or something like that. Let me take a look at what I described for. Yeah, the path of cults is a twisty, winding, narrow path that wends its way through the city grate that is lined by temples on all sides. There are cults big and small, major established temples, and like tiny little storefront like confessionals, things like that. So there's like doomsday prophets crying on the corners, there's an extortionate priests guild that like shakes down temples for donations. Incidentally, that's where a portion of who is your cleric, Jen? Is it Growlabless?
Growlabless, yes.
Yeah, that's where a portion of Growlabless's
Bill.
tithes have gone to, is to satisfying the extortionate priests guild. You make your way to the temple to Bobugbu Bills, which I think in the city grate, Bobugbu Bills is a cult that's sort of out of favor. It was once great, so it's in a space that's much larger than the number of people who are in. And the temple of Bobugbu Bills is arrayed in like a circle all around like a deep black pit of water. And there's like just pews, like circular pews, ringing this deep black pit of water, supported by huge stone pillars on all sides, and like far in the back corner, there's this lurking, hulking statue of Bobugbu Bills, decorated with a similar sort of scattering of gemstones as the ones that Fran pried out of the statue of Bobugbu Bills.
That makes a lot of sense why Anwar likes it, because there's not a lot of people and a lot of space to hide.
Absolutely. And you said Quenta sometimes like acts like she's praying, and she delivers you information that way. Okay, awesome. I love this. So you like slip into the shadows and you see Quenta sitting there praying. And like for a while she's like actually honestly, earnestly praying, and then she says, "And one more thing, Bubugbu Bills, I have an important message for you." She says, before I go on, like Anwar, I think like your most important asset is your like information network, right? Have you like tell me about your most recent expansion of your information network? Where have you recently extended your fingers that you previously hadn't? Is it like
well, my frenemy is Zotella, the Haruspex of the Vexing Skull. And she is a sly woman of great power who pursues goals strangely close to my own. So maybe recently we have kind of a like tenuous frenemy pact that I assume, what is the Haruspex of the Vexing Skull? That's kind of another like cult type group, right?
That's the name of this sorcerer. That's
okay.
like the moniker. Like you are the of the Whispering Cowl.
Yeah.
She's the Haruspex of the Vexing Skull.
So Zotella probably maybe she has ties to the medical community in the city.
Absolutely.
And so I'm now getting information about everyone's like illnesses and any like trends of plague or
disease,
what noble person like got what procedure done, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Lip fillers. That was Valerie's latest, I'm sure.
Yeah. All sorts of fillers.
Yeah. So fantastic. So Quenta is kneeling there in the dark adjacent to this pitch black pool, and Anwar is lurking around one of the nearby pillars, and Quenta says, "And one more thing, Bubugbu Bills, just one," which is like the code that you're listening for. She says, "I know that your servants mean to serve you well, but they are not being entirely faithful to you. Be not angry with them, Bubugbu Bills, for they intend only the best, but it is important that you know that they recently were approached by agents of the Overlord. Your most recent branch of servants has drawn attention to themselves that they otherwise should not have drawn, and the agents of the Overlord are greatly angered with them. I have it on good authority. Oh, Bubugbu Bills. Oh, great Froge of the Swamps.
What is it?
I have it on good authority that the Overlord demands appeasement of 100 coins in gold, or else he will strike down upon thy most faithful and most recently acquired servants. I am certain that his forbearance will hold for some period of time, but not for long. I remain your most faithful servant, Quenta."
I give her a nod from the shadows. Do I understand this to mean that the Overlord has noticed me, or that the Overlord has noticed Zotella?
Oh no, she's talking about your, like, in the language of code that you two usually use. It's easy for you to interpret this as meaning that the Overlord has noticed your spies and is displeased with something, whether you've like infiltrated and like muscled out people that he was relying on, or like, if someone's body ended up in a river that it was not the right person, something has gone afoul, and the Overlord has noticed your most recent expansion, and they are not pleased. It sounds like they want, an appeasement of 100 gold coins, or else future badness.
The Overlord is my foe. And it brings me great delight that they are displeased, because it means that I have been working in the right direction. However, this will be a problem if they start to cause trouble for me in my spy network. what I would like to do about this is try to make it seem as though those spies were actually not mine. Maybe they were Zotella's, maybe they were acting on someone else's authority. But how could I like make that seem to be the case? Would I directly send a messenger to the Overlord, or could I like plant some evidence or something like that?
Yeah, so like mechanically, the way that this works is through influence. And basically you would just tell me that you spend 1 influence, and then like that's a very reasonable thing to do. You have a network of spies, you can plant evidence, you can send out whispers, you can like obfuscate the trail leading back to you such that the Overlord is like, oh wait, maybe I got this wrong. Maybe it's Zotella that I need to be mad at instead. And you can just make it happen by spending 1 influence.
That's what I do. I
Awesome.
send my whispering spies out to change the narrative.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's see. I'll bring back over to the patrons page. So let's see. Anwar. I want to like write a little text for like influence. Cool. Yeah. So influence 2, influence 1, influence 1. Wonderful. What's going on here? Yep. Awesome. Then we move on around. So yeah, you send out your spies, and pretty swiftly you hear confirmation that the Overlord has gotten.
And in return, also, my spies quell the nasty rumor that Quenta had that procedure on her backside. Absolutely not true. Make sure everybody knows that.
Laughably false.
Right.
You do hear a little bit of information, actually, coming out of Zotella Haruspex of the Vexing Skull. So like she has a magnificent garden of herbs that she uses to keep like her local hospitals in good supply of healing herbs and things like that. They've gone a little bit to seed, and it seems like she's intensely distracted. It seems like she's searching for something that she either once had or has heard of and wants to find. You're not entirely sure what, some object of power.
I must find out what it is.
Now, moving around the table, Neil, Valerie, Queen of the 7 Schools. So incidentally, the way that I've come up with what has happened to your patrons is I rolled plus your current holdings. So impoverished, of course, gives you a -1 on that roll. So, you know, there are some challenges facing each of you, but that's how. And then like improving your holdings can also improve the results of whatever has happened to your patrons in the last month or so. So
when do we get to spend? Is it?
That's like now. So
Can I spend on holdings before you roll?
I've already rolled. That has already happened. I already know what's going to happen to Petrov. The
Damn it.
Valerie, tell me about the latest wealthy noble you have been courting.
So there's this guy named Alex. His family has some like little holdings down at the end of the bay or whatever. And not only is he like super handsome, he's got this like long flowing like golden brown hair that's like always silky and smooth, and he's got this like big strong chest. He must work out all the time, but like his hands are soft and his skin is just like palatable, you know, like, and he's an artist. He like totally works on I know, he's like amazing. I love Alex. He's pretty great. The only problem is that his family is like on par with mine, and I like to marry up, not down or sideways. You know, like how are you supposed to get wealth if you don't like marry someone greater than you and then they have an accident, you know? So like, this guy's kind of great, but I think he might just be a placeholder until I find someone who is actually worthy of my affections. You know, like really cares about art in the long run, you can just hire an artist. You don't need to date one.
Who do you have as your like letter runner? I'm sure that you must have basically a small army of communicator professionals. But
of course.
who is like your maitre d' of letters?
Brad, he was the wide receiver when he was in high school, and like now that he's a little bit older, he just like needs a job. And as we all know, if you're like on this football team in high school, you don't really get a good job later in life. So we needed to like set up Brad with something to do, something that he can use those legs for. And like, I do like to watch them pump.
Brad walks up. He has dutifully oiled himself today. He's wearing his tuxedo vest and bow tie, and that's all on the upper body, obviously.
Love it.
And he bows and he says, "What's your honorific? How do people address you, Valerie?" Does he say "my queen"?
Beloved, because I don't want to infringe on actual queens. So
sure, can be a little risky. He says, "Beloved, a communique for you."
Thank you.
He holds out a velvet pillow upon which rests a fairly rough-looking letter. Like, this isn't nicely pressed paper. This is something that's not of the kind of communication you generally receive. This is a little lowbrow. You already can tell that you're not going to like the contents of this letter just by looking at it sitting there on your nice pillow.
I will motion him forward so he can bring it to me, and then motion his face forward towards me so I can give him a kiss on the cheek. And then pick up the letter, Miss Alex.
Okay. Let's see. You open the letter, and it contains this.
Oh. Try to read this to everyone?
Yes.
Most noble and esteemed Valerie, queen of the 7 schools, it pains me to write you highlighting our plight, but it was a bad year for the fields here in Galway, and your guards have abandoned their posts. Why, I feared greatly until Alex rode through with his train. I beseech him, highlighting the plight of our poverty, and he took a great interest, expressing true surprise that your lands could suffer so. Great news, he has kindly and most benevolently agreed to loan 500 gold coins to the treasury of Galway for us to purchase grain and stocks to make it through the winter, as well as pay the salary of a handful of men-at-arms they left in town. I pray the next time you see Alex, you think of him graciously on our behalf. Sincerely, Talu of Galway. Well, Talu is my frenemy. We don't always get along, but we mostly get along.
She's the alderwoman of one of your villages.
Yeah, she is. So it looks like Alex, if I'm reading this right, the guy I'm seeing, Alex, like totally helped out one of my impoverished people without telling me about it, and like went out of his way to like keep my appearance and my standings high, and didn't even try and take credit for it. Am I understanding this right?
I mean, there's another thing in this letter, which is that your alderwoman exposed to the man you are courting that your lands are quite poor, and that your duties to them are being fulfilled in a mediocre fashion. And
that's true.
She managed to somehow extort from this man you are trying to woo 500 gold coins.
Well, he's a generous man, and I am like so grateful that he would go out of his way to like help me, and not even like say that he didn't tell me about this means like he's got respect for the the public image and the decency of what's going on. And this just really shines brightly on Alex and how great he is. But Talu is definitely trying to like slight me, because I know they have enough grain and everything. Like, we've been totally taking care of it for a long time, and that she is trying to like undermine me in such like a backhanded way really shows why she's a frenemy. And I think we're gonna have to do something about Talu. I'm not quite sure what. We're gonna have a meeting. We'll have it over a feast. We'll just like have some wine, see what we come up with. I'll bounce the ideas around between some of my girls, and we're gonna have to do something about her.
Are you sending a summons to Talu?
As long as I don't have to figure out what to say to her right now, then yeah, we're gonna summon her, and then we'll deal with her when she arrives.
Yeah, you can send like a future date summons, like, please Talu, attend me in 2 months' time at such and such, like we must discuss the status of your village, things like that.
Yeah, Talu, come here. I need to talk to you. You have some special information that you're privy to that no one else should know about, and like we need to discuss this. Alex,
Fantastic.
So sweet.
Summoned Talu. And you have 1 influence to spend as you desire. Looks like you've already made a choice.
Yeah, we are definitely going for the nicer holdings.
Fantastic. So, yep, you spend your influence basically like building and expanding on your manor.
Mm-hmm.
And you move your holdings up to mediocre status.
Huh?
Fantastic.
Oh, is this a loan of 500 gold?
Yeah, that is what it says.
Oh. Well, that's okay. We'll just have to have Talu pay for it. If she can't manage her estate very well or the village very well, then clearly she's responsible. If you can't... I hear that, like, in a lower class tavern, if the waitress, like, is short at the end of the day, she has to make up for it with her own tips. And that's kind of what Talu's going to be in here. If she can't keep the village together properly with the funds that I provide her, then she is responsible for personally coming up with the rest of it. So maybe we'll have to send her off with some of our people on some quests to make some money. You might have to get her hands dirty.
Very, very reasonable and generous interpretation. Though, of course, every gold coin that Talu pays back to Alex is a gold coin that Talu is not paying to you.
Well, maybe I'll just have to marry Alex then, and then the gold comes to me. But we'll really have to see what 500 gold looks like in the big grand scheme of things. It might not be worth marrying him just to like recoup 500 gold if there's someone better out there. I hear there's this really handsome guy named Steven who's got lots of money and might be single, so like looking into that.
It's always good to have an eye out. Kara, your time has gone uneventfully. Nothing major has occurred in the past month, and you're free to spend your time however you like. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to do or take care of as, the new warden of this prison?
Well, I've been gifted a wing of the prison to kind of run on my own, and I have my prisoners, and I spend a lot of time just like enriching their lives. So I wake up early in the morning. I run the early morning yoga. We get the whole prison up at 5:30 for sunrise yoga. Then we get to cleaning. So we're trying to like clean up, replaster the walls, maybe like expand a little bit, because on all sides of the prison is just like muck. It's like a marsh. Like if it was Jersey, you actually wouldn't be allowed to build there. And so we're trying to reclaim this land.
Sinking.
Yeah, we're kind of sinking slowly into the ground. So it's constantly like this reclamation effort also.
Amazing.
I just want to say Grola Bless is really getting into this sunrise yoga. But yeah, Redra, not so much. She skips on it, but starts cleaning early.
Redra does not skip on yoga.
Redra
Redra skipped on yoga once, and now Kara personally gets Redra up, and you do the yoga alongside Kara.
Redra despises every moment of it.
Kara is having her standard effect.
Kara, you've got 1 influence as a consequence of these adventurers having succeeded in one previous mission. How do you want to spend it?
We're going to be increasing these holdings because I just want to be clear. My family is very rich and I'm quite well taken care of. And well, if it's any indication of where I stand with someone like Valerie, it's higher up. But I'm working on my own project, I'm kind of getting my elbows greasy. So, we're going to be constantly like, this looks like a crappy area, but it's not a reflection of the greater Gowler estate.
Fantastic.
How
Go
come
ahead.
Rachel doesn't owe someone 100 gold?
What's that?
How is the determination of like what situation they're in? Because Rachel's like, everything's fine for you. How do you want to spend your stuff? Where mine was like, the overlord is gonna get you. How's that determined?
So that's so like lots of games have this sort of like complications phase.
Mm-hmm.
Where we would roll 2d6 plus or minus some value. So
Mhm.
all of you, I rolled a 2d6 minus 1. For you, I rolled lower. For Kara, I rolled the middle of the road. And so
the Anna rolls carry over to rolls on your behalf.
It's
I'm so
ridiculous.
sorry.
No, I mean that's what I expected. I just wanted to make sure.
yeah, and so impoverished gives you a -1 to your rolls. Mediocre gives you a +0. Lux gives you +1. Opulent gives you +2. Palatial gives you +3. So like, there's still a chance, even if you're living palatial, that something bad will have happened. And there's still a chance, even if you're impoverished, that something really great will have happened. But
Right.
Kara's middle of the road.
Gotcha.
Kara, go ahead and take the pen tool in Roll20 and mark off the holdings up there that you purchased.
Absolutely.
Then we will move on to Petrov. And Petrov,
Yes.
you, where do you generally hang out most of the time when you are in the burrow?
Oh, level -7.
Level -7, fantastic. What does level -7 look like?
Oh, nobody knows. Yeah, I'm the only one who gets there. It's me and my beloved cockroaches and my pet ferret, of course.
Excellent. So your pet cockroaches scatter, and your ferret suddenly looks behind him, her, them, with surprise, and does like a couple little binky jumps, kicking their back feet up, and then like arches his back and goes boink, 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 boink. And a beautiful, elegant peacock steps out of the shadows and looks at you, spreads a huge fan of feathers behind it, and then it opens its mouth and it speaks. And it says, "Anwar, darling, it has been too long since you've come to visit me. Please, join me at my gardens and let's have tea. We simply must discuss the latest news of the Overlord's associates.
So
See you soon, Zotala."
It says Petrov, right? Because you said Anwar, so I got confused.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
Zotala's
sorry.
my friend.
It says Petrov, darling.
Well, I'm also friends with Zotola, actually. We picked the same friend. She's shady. Something underground. Makes sense.
We have the same foe too. I feel like an alliance. Is
Yeah, we
coming.
do. We're like, yeah, we see things in a similar way, I think. Oh my god, we're both underground too. Okay, so my character, not at all excited like Jen right now. But I just can see an underground connection happening because we're both digging. All right, maybe we'll have a bridge or something. Okay. Petrov, always a little grumpy, gets up from their chair and slowly makes their way, from the floor -7 to -6 to -5, then takes the secret passage because they don't want to see people that are above -5. And I take the secret exit out that only 3 people know about, my most special and trusted advisors. And,
You're leaving the lair?
well, to go see the person with the peacock.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Zotala lives in the mountains, so it's like a day's journey or something like that. When you arrive, she greets you enthusiastically and says, "Petrov, you're looking so fashionable. I love what you've done with the rags. Please, join me in my gardens for tea." And she's followed around by this like black onyx skull. And it just shouts, "Oh, great, Petrov!"
I say, the tea sounds delicious, but fashion is useless when the end of the world comes.
The skull shouts, "Such a charming conversationalist!" Zotala wanders away into the kitchen portions of her manor to fix tea. She she has like one of her associates escort you into the gardens, which are like a mountainside walled gardens with like covered with brilliant, beautiful wintry blooms. And like there's a heady scent of flowers in the air. It's loomed over by the black spire that Zotala uses as her seclusium. The garden is attended by grasping amorphous blobs that drag flower-patterned watering cans around the garden. So they're like slimes that are just like dragging watering cans around and like tilting them over into plants. And there's like peacocks wandering around the garden preening. Zotala sets down a tea set in front of you and says, well, now, darling, I have some very interesting news for you. The vexing skull shouts, hey, Zotala, the tea's too hot, definitely too bitter. And she says, yes, well, tell me, Petrov, how have you been?
I mean, preparing for the end of the world, as you know. We've been doing quite well on influence, actually. I've recruited some new poor souls that are willing to give everything for the cause.
Hey, Zotala! Petrov got some new recruits. Did you hear that? He got some new recruits. Where are your new recruits, Zotala? Zotala just sips her tea. Lovely. And are you prepared for the end of the world?
Every day, a little bit more.
Well, yes.
Are you?
Oh, not in the slightest. I have so much more to do to prepare for the end of the world. Darling, you know.
Of course you do. I've actually made you a list to help you out.
Zotala, what did you do with the last list Petrov gave you? Did you burn it in the fireplace? Or was that the second to last list Petrov gave you?
I think every time I come with like new things I think that we need for the end of the world, and I kind of advise her to prepare.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, Zotala says, I have news of the Overlord's associates. Are you?
When she says the Overlord, I spit on the ground.
She like sips a tea and then like waits and then spits the tea out on the ground. Darling Petrov, Justikar Snish has been saber rattling against his neighbor Pontifex Rhea. The Overlord is turning a blind eye for now, but we both know that if Uthgarden takes advantage of the strife for a border attack, the Overlord will whip them both into shape. Additionally, the Overlord has apparently sent a few strike teams of knights down to the southeastern border with Mordland, the Frog Kingdom, or I suppose I should say it properly, the Froge Kingdom. Apparently, King Heinrich's court magician, Augusta Ribet, vanished in the swamps, taking some of her tomes with her. Fool woman couldn't spell her way out of a wet paper bag. I say good riddance, and may the truly deserving divide her spoils appropriately. The vexing skull yells, hey, Zotala, are you truly deserving? Do you really think that? She waves at it and says, finally, I hear Merchant House Natalie has petitioned once again for the release of their patriarch from prison. Oddly enough, the Overlord's judges consented to hear the case, but I've heard no decision. I can't imagine they'll change their mind. But why I really asked you here, my darling, so, conversation has flowed and tea has flown. Finally, she says, listen, darling Petrov, I hear you recently came into acquisition of a few new recruits that might have come out from Oakwell's way. Yes?
That might be correct.
They haven't happened to hear anything about that old abandoned keep, have they? You see, it's just, well, my man Fruelt claims that the whole thing vanished into the hillside before he was able to find a very special ring for me. Sentimental value, just a mere trinket, a bauble, really, but I have been missing it so. Won't you be a gem and find out if anyone's heard anything about it? I'd literally kill to have it back.
I go, Noted.
This is the ring that Babs has? Is that right?
I mean, it could be.
Oh, okay.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
The ring that Babs has is the ring that Fruelt was asking for, that you declined to return to Fruelt.
And Babs is not in my group, right? She's...
I'm
No,
Valerie.
She's one of Valerie's.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted with Zotala, Haruspex of the Vexing Skull?
I'd love... Zutola, have you heard of anything that one could do if one wanted to reduce the Overlord's oversight?
Are you meaning to say that you would like to reduce the attention that the Overlord pays to you, or that you would like to reduce his, actual manpower and influence on the ground over you? Or is there a particular problem you're having with the Overlord, darling?
Both. Anything Overlord, really.
Well, now, of course, the Overlord always has spies in all of our organizations. Could always direct some effort into ferreting those out and executing them grimly, or perhaps turning them into slimes to water your garden. Anyway, you could also try to arrange for a group of thugs to find one of his groups of knights in some back alley somewhere and break a couple kneecaps. But of course, if he has sent a strike team of knights down to the Froge Kingdom, it might be worthwhile if you had the extra manpower, or Froge power perhaps, to go and acquire whatever it is that they're looking for down there before they acquire it themselves. Denying the Overlord material goods is always worth everyone's time, darling Petrov.
That sounds like a fair quest to me. Thank you for the information, darling.
By all means, remember, they were tracking his court magician, King Heinrich's court magician. Her name is Augusta Rebay. She apparently vanished in the swamps.
Well, then, we shall head there at last.
I wish you the best of luck. Kisses.
One does not...
Kisses!
I walk away saying one does not need luck in surviving the apocalypse. One needs preparation. And then I walk away.
She nods and then clips the head off of a rose in her garden. Fantastic. Then you have 2 influence to spend.
Yeah.
How would you like to spend that?
I'm going to spend 1 on expending my holdings. So making floor -6 better.
Fantastic. And then the other? Are you just going to hold it?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Excellent. Then I think now is the good point to take our last 5-minute break. And when we come back, we'll swap back over to the pawns. And we now have access to our first quest, which is to go investigate whatever's going on in Swamp Today and secure whatever the Overlord is looking for before the Overlord gets it. So we had just heard some interesting tidbits of opportunities that exist in the world for our patrons to make good on some knowledge that they just learned. Petrov, how do you assemble the pawns for a mission off into the fetid Swamp Today on the border with Mordland?
I'm not gonna go myself. I don't even want people to know that I left the burrow.
Indeed.
So I do wash myself, by the way, when I come back, because that's the ritual. But I do it in secrecy, and then I put dirt all over me to pretend like I never left. That's the trick. The dirt is on the floor -7. People don't know that. And yeah, I think I would send my second in command to go assemble the people. She's much nicer as well. It's the daughter of my fallen past second in command.
There's a second in command lineage.
Yes, there is. She's the second in command. Let me see. Where did I put the info about her? Oh my god, I have too much text.
I have this problem all the time.
I have so many notes now.
Which doc?
Her name is the daughter of Feach, my trusted assistant to the house of Teotihuacan.
Amazing.
I've been watching The Office lately, so yeah. So the assistant to the house of Teotihuacan, the daughter of Feach, goes and gathers the pawns that she heard did bring down the Lord of Chaos, because she heard they did good. So she's gonna go try and assemble them for this quest.
You have like a standing arrangement with these other patrons that you can each like borrow each other's pawns for achieving the goals that you have, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does everybody assemble in the burrow?
Well, I mean,
during this delivery of information.
I don't think I would get them to come to the burrow, actually. Okay. Only the people of the burrow know where the burrow is.
Got it.
So no, we would assemble at just like some shady, back alley. That's like the spot.
Cool.
Is this your people or is this all of us?
It's all of you.
That's everyone. So like, let's like build a little adventuring group here. Everybody who's going to go on the adventure, why don't we just move them down into the adventure box, which is bright green and nope.
Still have the city map.
I'm still on the city map too.
Yeah, we're all on the city map.
Wait, we can take this. Perfect.
Do we get to decide who we send? Like, we still have that choice as like players, not patrons?
Yeah. Each player gets to choose who they're sending.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it would be irresponsible to send a child. So here comes Sky.
Okay.
Let's see. Who do I send? Gonna send the Stretch today.
Of course.
Well, I mean, we're going to the swamp. Of course, Stretch is going. I think the other two are gonna stay behind to help out at the prison a little bit longer before adventuring another time. And I guess I'll bring 2 level 0 pawns.
Yeah.
Pawns.
So for this adventure, you're permitted to bring up to 2 levels of characters. So either 2 level 1 or a level 1 and 2 level 0 or 4 level 0. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we can roll new level 0s?
Absolutely.
Ha ha ha.
Oh.
Ho ho.
All right. Well, Agnes is going to go because she has to make it up to, of course, her patron and the graciousness that Valerie has showed her. So she'll be going to earn her keep.
Excellent, excellent. And Anna, Babs and Fran, either or neither?
I'm debating. I think Babs wants to practice her newfound magic.
Cool.
So I'll send her.
Cool.
Fran has already just donated a giant treasure to her patron, so she's hoping that can hold off for a while while she sets up the horses. And then I'll bring 2 level 0s.
Okay, cool. Then what is it? Is it? Let's see. How do we roll for new characters? I forgot this.
Exciting.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, you should all have a macro bar that has a button called Chargen.
No,
Mm-mm.
it has not been made available to the players.
Let's take a look at this. Mm-mm-mm. It's in bar,
But it
show
is under
marker.
macros. Do we have to add it personally?
Yeah, I wonder if you have to show macro quick bar. So if you go to macros and then check the show macro quick bar checkbox, does it show up then?
I got it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Should I press it for
I
posterity?
don't have it. Oh, show chair charge in bar. There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see it.
If you do go into macros,
Yeah, I did it, but
and then on the macros menu, under name, is Chargen and Oakwell.
yeah, it does a little, like, it opens up a spot, but the button doesn't show up. It's super weird. I get like the shadow. Of
You got to
the
check the
That
box for
happened-
charge in as well.
Yeah, 2 boxes.
button.
Yeah, so you gotta
Oh,
check
I got it. I
charge
got it.
in bar and then check show macro quick bar. Okay, awesome. So Anna, this is your first character. Jen, this is your first character.
Survived the spider bite.
Rachel.
Raised by wolves. Yes.
Raised by wolves. Oh, this is a noble.
Oh,
Got our first
She
noble.
doing it.
The nice thing about having a noble available is like you can funnel money to them that they don't get taxed for, and then they give it back to people. So yeah.
No taxerino. I don't like that. She better give me all that damn
My
money.
second
noble
character.
who was raised by wolves.
Yep. That's the birth augur. isn't
She's
it?
the main
Wow.
character, guys, of
Oh, damn.
this anime.
Chicken butcher.
Chicken butcher.
Very specific.
Yeah, it reminds me of, what was it? Chicken mom?
Chicken mother.
Chicken
Yeah.
mother, yeah. Are they a relative of Chicken Mother?
Maybe.
So let's see. I'm gonna just move these characters into these folders. So we've got Anna number 7, Anna number 8, Jen number 6, and number 7. Number 7. Neil number 8. And then Rachel number 7 and 8. So
No
it
frogs,
looks like
huh?
Neil, I need one more from you.
Yes.
Roll a frog. Roll a frog.
Yeah, clearly.
No.
Nope.
Who did we get? Female human squire, born on the battlefield. Wow, look at those rolls though. Good rolls. 5 hit points. Holy shit. 31 copper pieces. This
doesn't
woman is a
sound like-
paragon of her species. All right, fantastic. Then each of you can drag 2 tokens from in the center here into your little boxes, and we can assign them. Which one is this one, Neil? Number 8 or number 9?
This one is
Okay.
the squire. This one is the gardener.
All right. Yeah, Neil number 8 is the gardener. So let's see. Represents character Neil number 8. Oh wow. Save settings. Neil number 8 is Kate. Edit. Use selected token. Save. Fantastic. That's incredible. She's got leaves in her hair. And then
Mm-hmm.
Neil number 9. Nameplate, save, edit, use. Excellent. And then Rachel, which one of your characters is a top knot person?
That is number 7.
I
My
guess it's actually
royal
ponytail.
noble raised by wolves.
Yep. Seltzer number 7, nameplate, HP, 1 hit point. Fantastic.
Oh baby.
Use token, and then Seltzer number 8. 4 HP. Not too bad. Excellent. Anna, tell me about Girl with Bangs.
Girl with Bangs is the scribe.
Girl with Bangs is the scribe. Anna number 7. Cool.
And Hair in the Wind is the chicken butcher.
Fantastic. There we go. Use token save. Yep, cool. Hair in the Wind is chicken butcher. Anna number 8. Nameplate HP 3. Awesome save. Make sure that's as token. And then finally we've got Jen. You needed to grab 2 characters as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'm bringing my level 0, Beskri and Lurjui.
Yeah, so what I need you to do is take 2 tokens from the middle here.
Oh.
That represent Beskri.
Sorry
and
about
Lurjui.
that.
And then we'll move them on down.
So Lurjui, the jeweler. Wait, was it a woman or a man? Or what? I didn't note if they were male or female or
Let's see.
non-binary.
Woman.
Female jeweler. Female Lurjui, and the second one was the person. Female human scribe. Okay, they're both girls. Okay. So we got a jeweler lady called Lurjui. I think I'm gonna take her. I don't know. She has a fancy hat.
Fantastic.
So I'm kind of feeling it. And then the scribe Beskri, who looks like a scribe. I think I'll take this one. The scribe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move her into your little box over here.
Yeah.
With, Red Rat and Growl.
Oh, sorry.
Let's see. Lurjui. Set up that token.
They both have like fancy hats for some reason. Both of them.
So Lurjui, and then this one is going to be Beskri.
Yeah.
Okay. Nameplate, HP.
Yeah, one of them has pretty good HP. Lurjui has 4. So that sounds like someone that can resist a single hit, which is really
There you
good.
go.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2.
Maybe 2. Well, I mean, maybe they would die at the second one, but...
Let's see. I'm putting the colors that correspond to each of you. Fantastic. D is... that is Neil's character. Kate is also Neil's character. Are you bringing both of them, Neil?
I thought, is it 3 people total? Yes, then I'll bring them both.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, let's see. Anna is purple. We'll put that color on there. Are you bringing Anna number 7 and number 8 with you, Anna?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Then we have our adventuring party. So wow, how many players is this? 6, 12. The 12 of you meet with the second in command of the burrow, in this dank, fetid alleyways where all the buildings are sort of like leaning against each other, and like one of them is leaning way out over the alleyway. Someone throws out a chamber pot down the street, and you're all very glad that you weren't standing close to that. Jen, what does the second in command deliver as the charge to these 12 adventurers? What's the requirement?
I should have taken better notes. Petrov has summoned you, and your patrons have complied in lending you for the cause. Today you will be deployed to hopefully upset the Overlord by interfering with their mission. Some knights have been deployed by the Overlord to go get some wizard, and your quest will be to get to the wizard first, gather the goods, bring them back to Petrov, and you can keep anything else you find for yourself and for your patrons. I mean, for your patrons only.
Yes.
She's a little like, she's close to a patron, but she also knows how it is. Yes, for your patrons only. So yeah, that's your mission. May Bugbills watch over you. I heard he's really trending right now.
Fantastic.
And don't forget one last thing. Petrov insisted. Here's a list of things that he recommends you and your patrons gather for your own survival when the end of the world comes. You wouldn't want to be caught behind.
So you pass out a list to each of the people.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, the article that Petrov knows that Augusta Rebay had in her possession is the Eldritch Scroll of Zokar Zan.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Are you asking them to bring that specifically, or are you like, bring me everything that you can find of this wizard? You can keep anything else.
Yeah, I think I'm asking for like everything the wizard involves. Like I do mention the scroll specifically, but I ask for anything on the wizard to be brought back to Petrov.
Awesome. Have you told these poor hapless pawns anything about where they might look to find Augusta?
Yes, of course. In the swamps, the swamp of Duday, Strej. You probably know where that is.
Yes.
I believe Strej shall lead the way.
Strej has some additional information about Swamp Duday, which is that two things. One, the only current inhabitants in Swamp Duday live in a mud hut village in the east of the swamp called Blabuton. Do you know anyone who lives there, Strej? Do you have any like friends or contacts or acquaintances there?
I think I would. I feel like that's kind of the origin of the Duday lineage. So I probably have a couple cousins over there.
Cool.
And relatives. I expect that we will be meeting more of the Frage.
Do you want to like generate a person that you know there?
Sure.
Cool.
His name is, oh no, should have thought about it. I had an idea 2 days ago and I forgot about its name. It was so good.
Please roll 1d10.
9. I think it's a noble. It's a noble Frage.
This individual's name is Frogworst.
Frogewurst.
Pardon me, Frogworst.
Okay, Frogewurst, yes. I know
Yeah,
Frogewurst.
so you know a person named Frogworst, and then roll 2d6 plus your personality modifier. And this will tell us like what your current relationship with Frogworst is.
Let me see. Personality. Ooh, okay. Oh, 6.
6. Your current relationship with Frogworst is not so good.
Yeah.
What was it that caused a falling out between Strej and Frogworst?
It's because when Frage Duday, the original Frage, left the group, Strej said that they would totally be okay on their own and that they would meet up a couple days later. And as you know, Frage Duday did not make it through, so Frogworst is really, really upset about that.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, let's see. I need to make notes.
But like Frage Duday didn't even like Frogworst. I know Frage Duday. Frogworst is the worst.
It's right in the name.
Frogworst in Blabuton in Swamp Duday. Relationship is strained because of Strej's failure to protect Roge.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Fantastic. All right, then the second piece of information that you have, Strej, is that Swamp Dudet flooded over the years. And so much that was once above the ground has sunk into the swamps. But the ancestral home of Clan Dudet, which is called Hall Dudet, used to reside in the heart of the swamp itself.
I guess we'll be able to sleep there.
Totally. Very welcoming, abandoned, sunken hall.
Yes.
Excellent. Then with that all sorted, I think it's time to do outros. But next time we'll see if anybody wants to do any shopping before we head out on adventure. And then 2, we will head off into the depths of Swamp Dudet.
New
This time for
characters are
real.
So exciting.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Thank you all for playing some fun D&D today. I know it was lots of bookkeeping and seeing new characters, but that was lots of fun for me.
It was lore deepening.
Yeah, exactly. And why don't we go around the table, let everybody who's watching at home hear how they can find out more of us, see more of us, and what we're up to. So let's start with Anna. Tell us about yourself.
Well, you can follow my stream at AnnaProsser, or you can also find me at AnnaProsser everywhere else, including AnnaProsser.com. As far as shows, my next one will be Echoes of Eternity, which is a Star Wars role-playing show on Monday, which is on this channel. On Tuesday, I'll be at Knights of Evening Star on the D&D channel. And on Friday, I'll be doing Extra Brains, which is a brainstorming talk show where you can submit questions, ideas, topics, anything that you'd like a few extra brains on. And DJ Wheat and I will try to lend our brain power to whatever you need. I also have been excessively obsessed with the Pokemon trading card game, and I will probably be streaming that as well. So if you are someone who either likes that game or would like to see it or knows how to tell me how to build a deck, I would appreciate you coming and stopping by. And if you want none of that but would like to see cute dog pics, I recommend you follow Happy Niski on Instagram. I tag Neil.
Hey everybody, you can find me on twitch.tv/Koibu all the time, sometimes. And we will be having a new series launching next Friday. It's a spiritual successor to Fatal One. It's called Deadly Dungeon. It's a 5th edition dungeon crawl that is too big for any one party to do and too deadly for any one party to survive. So it's more of a community event where different groups come together, put together a team, try and get as deep into the dungeon as possible, and if they get far enough, they might advance like the save point, and then a next team, and learning from the former team's mistakes, can then go and try and continue from, you know, wherever they managed to get to, but not like as far. You know, you got to clear an entire level at a time.
So bullshit.
Yeah, so it'll just be a bunch of people working together, trying to advance the dungeon, pick up clues about what might be at the bottom of the dungeon and what you might be fighting along the way, and it'll be a community event to beat this whole thing. So that starts next Friday at, I can get you a time that I should have had already if I was a professional like Anna or Seltzer, at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, which everyone knows how to convert to and from.
That's the...
Google knows.
What do you mean about then Stephen and I not being professional?
You guys are great. You guys are great. But they do a
Hold on
lot
a
of
minute.
presenting. You know, they're used to like having to.
Yeah, I just got that professional confirmation, which I don't think I earned at all, but...
Just Anna then. Sorry. I'll tag Jen.
All right, so unprofessionally, you can follow me at Livinpink on Twitter. And on Twitch, I stream every Tuesday at around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, different games. Right now, we're playing Portal 2, a little bit of Stardew Valley. That are kind of the two main things right now. And I'll probably do Life is Strange at some point, the prequel or something. Anyway, so yeah, you can follow me for that. And I just want to shout out to my fellow party members and everybody watching this show. It's really fun. So I shout out to fun and enjoyment of sharing this with you guys. And I tag Rachel.
Thank you guys
Ever so professional.
No pressure.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I had a wonderful time role-playing alongside my favorite companions in yet another adventure in Pawns and Patrons. I'm so excited you got to meet our patrons today, actually. They've been lurking in the shadows, and I think they're all pretty cool. I know everyone's put a lot of work in their patrons as well, so I'm interested to see how they affect the plot going forward. I also roleplay on Wednesdays in Red Sky City. It's a Cyberpunk 2044 RP, and that is on this channel, twitch.tv/Seltzer for me, and also on twitch.tv/DNPeak for Do Not Peak. We have a lot of fun. If you're wondering where we're at, you can catch up on the Do Not Peak Twitter, a bunch of our recaps. They're insane. It's a very technical, wild, futuristic cyberpunk show, and we do some weird shit in it. But I love that I get to experience so many different worlds through roleplay, and this is a wonderful fantasy as well, which was very calming today. So thank you all so much for that. And I'm gonna tag Steven and take us home.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks to all of you for playing an awesome game of DCC today, and I can't wait to see what happens next week. I've got all sorts of really fun stuff planned up my sleeve, so can't wait to get into this adventure. For those of you out there wondering who I am, I'm Stephen Lumpkin. You can find me on the internet at Silent Osiris. The O is 0. That's Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc. This is the only show that's happening on my personal Twitch channel these days. Shout out to everybody in chat today. Thank you all for hanging out and being awesome viewers and participants in the show. I do stream a 5th edition game called The Sunfall Cycle, which is Dark Souls-inspired Dungeons & Dragons over on Jesse Cox's channel, twitch.tv/Jesse Cox. That's every Wednesday at the same time that we run this. And I think that's it for me. I don't have anything else coming up. Most recently, if you missed it, I was on Co-Carnage's channel with DJ Wheat discussing the first book of Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archives, which is called The Way of Kings. We had a 2-hour book club about that, and it was super fun. So I'm sure that's either up on Ko's YouTube channel or on his Twitch VODs. So if you're into that sort of thing, you should definitely check it out. I think that's it for me. So I'll send us off by thanking you all for being awesome audience members, thanking my wonderful cast for being wonderful cast members, and saying to keep your eye on all of our Twitters, because we will update you on when the next show will be in approximately 1 month. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. We'll see you next time.